On the magical island of Everly in the kingdom of Vienna Star Falls, there were two princesses, Sonrisa and her little sister, Alejandra. They lived with their father, King Oscar, but their mother had died when Alejandra was a baby. Sonrisa loved Alejandra and was a very good big sister. Don Carlos was Sonrisa's hobby duke. He had a big, bushy mustache and always spoke using silly words about food. He carried a magical walking stick called a quizzle rod. Hobby dukes can sprinkle sparkling quizzle dust when they want to use their magic. Don Carlos taught Sonrisa the lessons of being a true princess, and especially that a true princess follows instructions when she has important things to do. When her friend, Princess Khadisha, arrived for the Princess Festival, Sonrisa raced up the palace stairs to find Alejandra. A worried Don Carlos was at the door to Alejandra's bedroom.
Menacing mangoes, Princess. Alejandra is very sick,
he said. Sonrisa started to enter Alejandra's room, but Don Carlos stopped her.
I have an apple bobbin important task for you,
Don Carlos continued.
I want you and Princess Khadisha to see if you can find any clues about Alejandra's sickness.
Sonrisa and Khadisha were excited to become detectives and figure out what had happened to Alejandra.
All right,
said Khadisha.
Let's start by retracking everything Alejandra did this morning.
Sonrisa agreed, but then remembered she hadn't seen the Princess Festival decorations yet.
Maybe,
she thought to herself,
we could just go peek at the decorations before starting on our quest.
For just a moment, Sonrisa considered taking this little detour, but then remembered that a true princess follows instructions, and she was supposed to be looking for clues. Sonrisa remembered that after breakfast, Alejandra had gone to the palace library. She and Khadisha hurried off to investigate. When they got to the library, Sonrisa noticed a new book.
Maybe,
she thought to herself,
I could just take a few minutes and look at it.
But then she remembered her important job and decided to follow Don Carlos's instructions to find clues first. The librarian whispered that Alejandra had been there earlier and was very excited about going on a picnic. The two princesses looked at each other and shouted,
The park!
The gardener at the park said he remembered when the little princess had disappeared.
We finally found her by the stream,
he said.
And after we found her, she started complaining that her tummy ached.
Sonrisa turned to Khadisha and said,
Follow me!
They ran up the hill towards the stream. On the way, she thought it would be fun to play in the stream for just a minute. But then she remembered how sick Alejandra was and decided instead to follow her important instructions to find clues. When they got to the stream, Sonrisa noticed some pretty red berries.
My mother warned me when I was little to never eat these berries or they would make me very sick,
she told Khadisha. Suddenly, they knew what had happened. Sonrisa and Khadisha hurried back to the palace. They arrived at Alejandra's bedroom just as Don Carlos was going in.
Don Carlos! Don Carlos! We think we know how Alejandra got sick.
Don Carlos's eyes lit up as Sonrisa explained about the berries. To solve the mystery once and for all, she needed to ask Alejandra if she had eaten any berries. Alejandra was pale and weak, but she was happy to have her sister with her. When Sonrisa asked about the berries, Alejandra whispered that she did eat some of them. Don Carlos knew just what to do to stop the berries' poison, and he assured Alejandra that she would get better in time for the Princess Festival. He and Sonrisa reminded her that she should never go off on her own and explained how important it is to always follow instructions. Later, Don Carlos called Sonrisa into his study.
Sonrisa, my lemon drop. You were more help than a stack of pecan pancakes in discovering what made Alejandra sick. You could have been distracted many times, but you stayed focused on your task and solved the mystery.
Sonrisa was so glad that she had chosen to follow Don Carlos's instructions that day. Don Carlos handed Sonrisa a small gold necklace with a sparkling diamond-shaped pendant.
I chose this shining diamond as a symbol for you, princess, because a diamond is clear and sharp, like your mind when you focus. Wear it always, and it will remind you to stay on your task and follow instructions carefully. It has special magic inside to give you strength.
Sonrisa beamed with happiness, and Don Carlos did a funny little dance and a burst of rainbow quizzle dust. A few days later, Sonrisa and Khadisha watched over Alejandra as she enjoyed the Princess Festival. They were sure to let Alejandra explore and be curious, but they also followed Don Carlos's instructions to keep a close eye on her. From that day forth, Sonrisa got better and better at following instructions and was soon considered the most dependable person in all of Star Falls.